Okay, so here we are. Here's St Bride's Village. I've just parked up on the coast here next to the seawall. So I'm going to be walking along the seawall today, along the coast, over to the Uskmouth Lighthouse there, and then back along the seawall, over to Peterstone Gout, and back to the car park again. So come and follow me. Let's see what we can find. Just before you go over to the seawall, here's some of the birds you can see out on the marshes there. Oyster catchers, avocets, little egrets, godwits, shelducks, dunlins, redshanks, teals, lapwings, widgeons and curlews. So I'm just about to pass this old farm cottage, which I suppose once upon a time, before this seawall here was built, it would have had views directly out onto the estuary there. Let's have a look. You can see just across the Reen here, they've got their own drawbridge. It's just a shame they've lost their view. I'm walking along the sea wall here between Cardiff and Newport in the Newport direction, and it's quite a surreal landscape. Nothing around me is natural, as beautiful as it is. The left side of me here, the Wentlog Levels, was reclaimed centuries ago for farming and agriculture. It's divided by a series of reens in which the fresh water is held back pending the low tide, which is then released out to sea. The sea wall I'm on now was built some decades ago to hold the worst of the highest tides and the rising sea levels back. And to the right of me here on the scrub, on the marshland, there's hundreds of thousands of boulders which are prohibiting the coastal erosion along the coast here. So there's been this tug of war almost between man and nature going on for centuries, which makes it quite an interesting landscape in its own right. So you can see here the sea has been clawing away at the soils at the top of this seawall here, and you've got various layers there going down in the sediment. The rocks along here are really porous. It's not one great big wall of concrete. It's a jigsaw of hundreds of thousands of boulders, and all these boulders have holes between them, so the sea is able to penetrate through and pull the sediment through with it. This is interesting. I'm just looking at some of the boulders that were transported to make the seawall here, and I found this lovely cluster of quartz crystals within one of the broken pieces. I might take that one home with me. So a quick fact for you today. Did you know the Severn Estuary right here in South Wales and the west of England has one of the biggest tidal ranges in the entire world? At its peak, the tide can rise and fall by around 15 metres, and that's approximately the size of a 5-storey building, and that's twice a day. And that's all because of the funnel shape of the estuary here, which squeezes and amplifies the tide as it comes in from the Atlantic. The massive tidal movement creates the famous Severn Ball, and that's a natural wave that surfers can actually ride for miles right up the River Severn. Pretty cool, eh? So in front of me is the West Usk Lighthouse, which is a Grade 2 listed building. It's just on the edge of the Severn Estuary at the mouth of the River Usk, south of the city of Newport. The lighthouse was constructed in 1821. The land around the lighthouse has been reclaimed as farmland, but it stood on an island until 1856, and it was decommissioned as an operational lighthouse in 1922. Okay, so on the topic of sea walls, I'm on the cusp of Newport now, on the coast here, and you can see on the land behind me there's another sea wall which is being constructed. You can see some of the materials that go in there. Anyway, some of the bits and pieces caught my eye as I was trawling through, so I want to share some of those with you. Let's have a look. So there's a couple of bricks here that have caught my eye. We've got the Abersucan brickworks there. We've got LBC, not sure what that is. We've got National Star Newport, the Little Mill, Pontypool, Star Newport again, and Whitehead, Cumbran. Very interesting. So there you go. If there's any brick collectors out there, drop me a comment below and I will give you the location for this one. So I'm making my way back now towards the seawall, and the seawall forms part of the Wales Coastal Path, which was launched in 2012. The footpath is 870 miles long, and it was heralded as the first dedicated coastal path in the world to cover the entire length of a country's coastline. The Wales Coastal Path runs through 11 national nature reserves and other nature reserves such as those managed by the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds and the wildlife trusts. Okay, so I'm just walking along the lower section of the seawall, and what I'm seeing every 10 or 15 yards or so are huge pieces of timber that have come in on a high tide and they've got caught here. But it just illustrates the importance of that seawall there. If it wasn't there, then most of the land on the other side would be flooded quite regularly and be unusable, given the salinity of the water, would completely ruin the land. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up here for today. It's been a really enjoyable walk, going along the seawall towards Newport and then back again. I've seen a lot of wildlife along the way, a heron, a swan, some sand martins, there's lots of seabirds here, if that's your interest. But yeah, I mean, I think I could easily do another video here, that's for sure. So I'll save that one for another day. Until next time, see you now.